Yeah, just get that little taste of this song. Thank you. It is Mr. Steve Perry, the mighty band Journey. And I'm glad this song came on because I gotta talk a little bit about Mr. Steve Perry and his comeback to music. But wow, what an emotional ride that guy had. Very emotional. And I'm going to keep this pointed at the radio because of the unique, ironic song Raised on Radio. And that would definitely be me. But anyways, the interviews that Steve Perry has been coming out and me blaming Mr. Neil Schon on, but there's a catch to it. Blaming Neil for, hiring another singer and going on and carrying on as that. And back in 1998, or whenever they did that interview with Steve Perry, and that guy must have been an emotional wreck to say what he said after this comment and what he thought. And I think because of the fact that they did carry on the band and they did put in another singer, I think that is exactly why Steve Perry lost all of interest in music. But for the band to do what they did, it still gives no excuse. No excuse of what they did. Because I remember in the video Steve Perry talking about, because he had a surgery done. And, if you're going to go on, pretty much said in words in terms of, do what you got to do, but just, keep it real. Or, I don't know. It was something in that strange form. It was like he wanted to move on, but he didn't want to move on. Now, in the interview, the new interview, Steve Perry claims that the reason why he left the band is because he didn't feel the connection no more. The band wasn't talking. They weren't kind of like getting along. They were just going in, making the album, and then touring. That's it. And they weren't, the happy band that they once were. And I think, back before in the beginning, they were probably, always talking, chatting. And he said he lost all interest in that. Now, the crazy goddamn thing that Steve does is he's doing something, but he winds up finding this woman that has cancer. And she just went through chemo, but she was fine. They got rid of it, but it came back later on, unfortunately, and that sucks. Because Steve fell immediately in love with her. And a sad, sad story. And a year and a half later, the poor woman passed away. But claims are, and her name was Kelly something. I forget the last name, but her first name is Kelli, I believe, Kelly. And for some reason, she told him never to go back into isolation. And that's exactly what Steve did. And of course, when the band brought upon the new guy's name, I don't want to say his name, whatever. I mean, I'll give him credit. Even though I know his voice is nothing like Steve Perry's. I don't care what anybody says. I can tell tones, pitches, and voices, and I can, even when Ripper Owens took over for the mighty Rob Halford, I could tell his pitches and tones were not the same. They were almost the same. They were almost there, but it was not the same. Not the same. Sorry. I give him credit. That guy can sing. But you'll never duplicate another singer. Just like Alice in Chains. The guy is damn good. But not the same. And that ain't a bad thing, though. At least, yeah, if one of these people happen to unfortunately pass away, at least you can, like Brian Johnson carrying on the torch for Bon Scott. But when you're doing it when these people are alive, I mean, it's like, and that's what it did. It mentally broke down Steve Perry. And I don't know, I think he's just caught up in the moment, overwhelmed of the breakup in the band. He says he'll never play with Journey, but I think he'll work his way through it and get there. But it's like, wow, that guy just tremendously broke down. Like I said, it didn't help either from the band. So the band is still at fault. Not all of it, but if you're not communicating with your band members, what the fuck is the sense of having a band? I mean, you got the classic battles of bands and their attitudes and, Motley Crue, Guns N' Roses, Aerosmith. The line goes on and on of bands that wanted to kill each other. Even Twisted Sister, and they weren't even, they didn't have a long run like these other ones. Guns N' Roses didn't have a long one either, but their friggin' fame and fortune hit them so fast that they didn't know what to do with themselves, guaranteed. They didn't know where they wanted to be or stand. But Steve Perry, man, that guy, and to see him collapse like that, man, I feel for him. But I don't want to end it with this. Steve Perry said he found someone that brought him back into the music world. He made an album. Damn right, I'll be out there buying that album. And this person gave him, the chance to carry on with the torch. Well, I like to send a message to Steve. If it wasn't for you joining Journey, I mean, a lot of other bands that I listen to, but you're one of the main ones. Because your music is so inspiring. You helped a little boy before him passing away. And to meet you, the biggest fan of all of you. You went to that hospital, you met him, and the poor boy passed away, but he got to see his idols. And that's the same way I feel. The same way I feel, man. If I was ever get to meet you in the band, even though I'm a little rough-edged with them guys, that inspires me to live. Because there's people, besides my family now, music was my only family. My kids, and music is what keeps me living. When I hear a Journey song, boy, oh man, I just want to jump and do what I gotta do. It grows me up to the point where I gotta stop thinking stupid. I was in depression too, Steve, and man, your music brought me out of a lot of things. So yes, your soulmate brought you out of a lot of things. And like I say, if you would have ever, if you would have stayed out of music for even longer, I don't know, man. I wouldn't say I'd do something tragic, but that would break my heart from the deepest depths. Because you have a unique voice and talent. And you are, man, the heart of it all. And you're the one that kept me one of the bands, and you most personally is what kept me afloat. So I hope Steve gets that message. Just like him. I could feel where he's coming from. He burned himself out, but to give up on the fans that need you too, If you needed somebody and the band wasn't there, you could have put them off to the side for a moment and just went with the fans. Someone like me, someone like that poor kid, I forget his name, but everybody knows who he is, and he inspired the song Only the Young. And if anybody hasn't heard that song yet, get it up and listen to it. Till that next video, be safe, take care. Steve, it's a joyous gladness to see you come back to where you belong. Awesome. Out.